Hi guys! Since the recent Windwalker buffs, some of our talent builds have been slightly changed. In the last few weeks I've been trying out multiple different builds in both tyrannical and fortified weeks. And today I want to share with you the new build that I run in both Mythic Plus scenario and in raiding. Let's get started with the new Mythic Plus build. Before the recent changes, I played with Feline Stomp in Mythic Plus weeks, both in Tyrannical and Fortified weeks. But with the recent buffs, we've seen significant increases in both Blackout Kick and Spinning Crane Kick. These buffs are just not something that we can ignore, and the amount of AoE damage we can now deal with Spinning Crane Kick is so significant, better than if you play with Feline Stomp. So in a Mythic Plus scenario, this is perfect, and that's something that you should really play around with. Something that I didn't really enjoy about the Touch of Death build, that it was only surrounded by Touch of Death, so really waiting for a 1.5 minute cooldown to be triggered, and then waiting for the cooldown to expire again. But the damage is shifting more towards the Spinning Crane Kick, and that's something that I enjoy a lot more than only just waiting for a nice Touch of Death proc. So this is the build that I currently run in both Fortified and Tyrannical weeks. There's a few iterations or changes that you can make based on the playstyle that you prefer, and are completely viable and are really preference based. So whatever you want to play, go ahead and do that. So I enjoy to play with Serenity and without Bone Dust Brew. There are people that play with Serenity and with Bone Dust Brew. And then the point that you can remove is Furic Swen. So this is a very viable build that will do probably the same amount of damage in both scenarios, so both Tyrannical and Fortified week. Maybe it will do a little bit more damage in Tyrannical weeks, in Fortified weeks because of the Bone Dust Brew, but it won't affect your overall damage, I think, by too much. So it's whatever you prefer. Some people also play with Storm, Earth and Fire. So this is also a build that has been played on very high keys in both Tyrannical and Fortified weeks. I think that Storm, Earth and Fire will deal a little bit more AoE damage, where Serenity will give you more single target damage. So you could go for a Serenity build in Fortified weeks and a Storm, Earth and Fire build in Tyrannical Fortified weeks. But it's really up to you. I prefer the Serenity and without the Bone Dust Brew build in actually both scenarios. I enjoy the Serenity build because it has quite some single target damage. And Bone Dust Brew, it's just not really my cup of tea or something. It's not something that I enjoy playing that much. But feel free to play around with it. There are some builds out there that play actually without Furic Swen, and they play also with the third Touch of Death talent node that we have. So this is also quite viable to play with. But yeah, it's a little bit whatever you prefer to play, really. They seem all very similar towards each other, and are actually quite viable in both Tyrannical and Fortified weeks. So the buffs are definitely something that I've been enjoying in the last few weeks. So play around with whatever you want. This is the one that I play in both Mythic Plus in Mythic Plus weeks. Our single target build has also changed slightly. So our new single target build used to be a little bit different. And for the people that have seen my guide, it's exactly the same as the old Cleave build that we played. So the single target build that we used to play looked like this. And this is still completely viable, and there's still people who have very high parses on Warcraft logs that play with this build. It's still okay, but like I mentioned, with the recent Windwalker buffs, we've seen significant damage increases in Spinning Crane Kick and Blackout Kick. So this build is actually performing a little bit better in most Mythic Plus builds. Definitely, whenever you have a boss fight where there is like a slight amount of cleave. So think about the last boss of the raid, Varrock, that has not a lot of AoE, but is not a complete single target fight. Volcaros, for example, the third boss, which is completely single target, going the old The old build will still be viable and will still probably perform pretty well. But when there's just a little bit of cleave, first boss, second boss, last boss, for example, in the raid, definitely go for the cleave build because it will absolutely outperform the fully single target build. If you still enjoy playing Veinline Stomp in Mythic Plus, I would advise you to only play it within tyrannical weeks, because it can still be okay when you really need that single target damage. Other than that, in Mythic Plus scenarios, please try out the single target or the AoE build. And yeah, let me know what you think. I'll keep you guys up to date if I change any of my builds in more videos, and I will make sure that I have all the links of the different builds that I use in the description for you to copy and paste. So yeah, thanks for watching, and see you guys later. Bye.